If you are still buying your pie crust from the store, your pies are garbage. Now let's bust out the butter and just a little bit of elbow grease and level up your pies. Now this recipe, it comes from my great-great-grandma. So I'm dropping lore and history on you today. Start with 3 3/4 cups of flour. That's 1. That's 2 and 3. 3/4 cups of flour. Depending on if you're making a sweet or a savory pie, you will adjust the amount of sugar. If you're going with a savory pie, you will only add 1 tablespoon of sugar. I'm going to be making sweet pies, so I'm adding 2. Oh, in this recipe, it makes 3 pie crusts. So if you just need the bottom shells, you'll get 3 of them. If you need a top and a bottom, you'll have enough for 1 pie and enough for an open face pie. Make sense? 3 shells. Got it? Good. And same thing with the salt. If you're doing a savory pie, you're going to add a whole teaspoon of salt. Since I'm doing a sweet pie, I am adding half of a teaspoon of salt. So depending on if you're doing sweet or savory pies, you adjust the sugar and the salt. Now back to where things don't change at all. Half of a teaspoon of baking powder. Now, whisk in your dry ingredients so they're all good and incorporated. And I recommend doing this in a larger bowl so you got room to work. Now you can do this inside a food processor. I don't do that because every time I have done it, I've ended up with a texture for my pie that I don't quite like. So I just do it by hand. It's easy enough. Don't be scared of using a little bit of elbow grease. It's good for you. Now this is how you know the recipe is good. It calls for 1 3/4 cups of cold butter. It's crucial that your butter is cold. If your butter is warm or room temperature, you're not going to end up with a buttery, flaky crust. It'll become mushy and you won't get the lovely crisp layers that you will want in your pie crust instead of that shaggy, goopy mess. What I recommend doing is taking your butter and a knife and just cutting it into pieces and getting this all just inside of the bowl. This is the part that will take the longest. And you don't need to do super small pieces because you're going to get those cut in with either your fingers or pastry cutter. Works amazing. Now you can cut it in using a fork if you don't got a pastry cutter. And when doing this, I wouldn't recommend using a butter knife. That might be a little difficult. But if you have a nice Doler paring knife like this one, perfect for this job. And you want to handle the butter as little as possible so that way it doesn't melt on you. Now, you just take your pastry cutter and you cut in your butter. You're looking for like pebble-sized pieces and a sandier texture. Now, if your butter is room temperature, you're not going to end up with that sandier texture or those pebble-like pieces of butter inside your crust. Now, those pebble-sized pieces of butter inside your crust is what is going to give it that beautiful flaky texture. If you're doing this with frozen butter, it is a lot more difficult. It'll take you a whole lot longer. That's why I recommend going in with fridge temperature butter over frozen. It's easier to work with, but you do need to be a little bit more mindful of how much your hands are getting into the dough. At this point, where it's fairly pebbly, fairly bigger, I'll come in with my fingers and I'll just grab it and I'm kind of squeezing and working that flour into that butter with both hands. If you've made a crumble before, similar process, but you don't want to keep your hands on the butter for too long. You don't want that butter warming up. So you want to be fairly quick about your pinch and squishing that you're doing. This is what you're looking for. Pebbly, sandy, not consistent in texture at all. All right, still got some decent little pebbles of butter in there, and that is what you want. Just as long as you don't got no big chunks of butter that need to be pinched in, that's what you're looking out for at this point. But those little pebbles of butter inside there is what's going to give you almost that laminated texture to your dough. Put this off to the side. What I got right here is 2/3 cup of ice cold water. You want it to be cold so you're not melting your butter. Make sure it's cold. To that, I'm going to be adding 1 teaspoon of white vinegar. Boom. Then lastly, you're going to be adding 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Come on. So that's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons sour cream, and sour cream cold. Not trying to warm this up at all. Make sure it's cold. The same whisk that you whipped up your dry ingredients with. You didn't put it in the sink already, did you? Just making sure. No point in washing multiple things. Get your wet ingredients all whisked up all at once. Just dump it into that dough. Now, no point in getting another utensil dirty. Just use your pastry cutter and start cutting in those wet ingredients into your dry ingredients. And you can, as well, what I like to do is I'll get my hand in here and start gently pushing everything in together. So that way it starts to come together. Now, you're not kneading this. You're just bringing this dough together. And once it's most kind of brought together with the pastry cutter, so I'm not having to deal with always having to brush it off like that. So when I get my hand in, and I just push in, push in, push in, push in. Not trying to knead it, just getting all those dry ingredients incorporated with the wet. You need to be careful that you're not taking too long to do this because it will melt the butter. And melted butter won't result in that flaky crust texture that all pie crust should have. You don't want it to be fully brought together, all right? Once you get all of the ingredients to essentially stick together in a very loose menagerie, like heck, it'll just crack and pull right apart, all right? Once it's just brought together, you're done. Leave it. You can still see all the craggly bits of butter incorporated through that, all right? Once you get it there, leave it. Now you got your 3 pie crusts here. You can wrap it up, keep it in the fridge for a little while, or you can freeze it for several months. I'm just going to wrap it up, keep mine in the fridge for a bit. And after you have whipped this up, I do recommend keeping it in the fridge for at least a couple hours, because working with a cold pie crust is much easier than working with a warm, sticky pie crust. So just wrap it up. A little bit of clean wrap, pop it in a Ziploc bag, wrap it in a towel, I don't care. There you go. Let this hang out inside the fridge. Use it for sweet pies, savory pies. If you want to do those adjustments, or if you want a sweeter crust with the savory thing, it's your crust. Do whatever the heck you want with it. This is going to hang out in the fridge for a day, and I'm going to be using it tomorrow. You'll see with what. So to get the rhubarb custard pie started, I'm going to get the pie crust that I whipped up the other day. I need to cut it into thirds, and then this way, I'll use this, and I'll freeze these 2 for pie crust later, because this pie crust recipe keeps super well in the freezer. These can keep in the freezer for like 3 months. When making pies, I lay down this canvas just because it keeps things from sticking, and it's nice and easy to flour, and I found that it makes maneuvering the pie crust around a lot easier. Now this canvas here, I inherited it from my great-great-grandmother from my mother, and if you got one of these for making pies, it keeps things from sticking and just makes life a whole lot easier. And now for this pie crust here, I'm just gonna, it's still a little bit chilly, so it's gonna take a little bit of muscling to get worked out, but we'll get there. I should have taken this out of the fridge sooner than I did, but poor planning on my part, consequences now. At the point that you're starting to roll out your pie crust, you're going to want to get your oven preheated to 400 degrees because this pie is going to throw together super quickly. Just about got this crust all the way rolled out. There we go. Since it's a nice buttery crust, we don't got to worry about greasing our pie pan here. Get everything all tucked in. This is a little bit large for what I'm doing here. I'll trim off a bit of this excess here. And you can bake this up, make like some cinnamon sugar crust, or you can even incorporate it into your next crust that you're making. No point in wasting it. Make sure you leave at least an inch of overhang off of your pie crust, so that way you can get it tucked in underneath, so that way your pie crust will hold on top of the pie. So then you tuck it in like this, and you want it to kind of catch onto the outside lip And just make sure everything's nice and flat and gets a little bit of texture on the edge of that crust. Do I make the prettiest pie crusts? Nope.